So this is the werewolf build. I did it as a commission for my local makerspace for Halloween. So I'm just going to narrate this whole process. I live stream the whole thing, so check me out on Twitch TV/DaggerElk. Hopefully I'll be streaming more often, doing more crafty stuff. So here you could just see me carving out profile layers of the werewolf out of pink insulation foam. Here I'm just gluing them together with some insulation foam glue. You could buy all of the materials that I used in Home Depot or off of Amazon in some cases, depends. But most of it's pretty run-of-the-mill stuff, especially for crafters. So here I'm just going to be whittling down at the thing with craft blades, nothing fancy, just box cutters. I also have a rasp that I use to smooth over some forms along with some coarse sandpaper. Nothing fancy here. This was my first time building a creature, so I just kind of went with materials that I knew about. Knew how to use, things I've worked with, that kind of thing. Later on I use Apoxie Sculpt. That was a new venture for me, along with hair laying. I've never done any of that, so there were a lot of new things that happened with this project, and it was pretty fun. So here I'm just kind of carving even more. I mean, literally the next few minute or so, at least maybe 2 minutes, is me just whittling at it. Nothing fancy. This whole time I was also referring to sketches that I made beforehand of the different profiles that I was looking to achieve, along with reference pictures of actual wolves. I just kind of imagined them scaled up, a little more muscular, bulky, hulkish even. The scaling I came up with, basically thinking, hey, what if I could fit a human in this? And then I made my scale drawing based off of that. Now you'll also see people come up to me and talk to me throughout this whole build process. The idea was to kind of gain publicity for my makerspace, which is in the library, and to interact with people. You know, the makerspace has kind of developed into its own little thing going on, and not a lot of people know about it. It was my job to kind of advocate for the makerspace, what we do, the kind of things that we teach, which include special effects arts and that kind of thing. This stuff I learned on my own, but I actually teach a lot of this type of stuff there. Here I'm carving out sockets for me to put the jaw sets into. These were 3D printed on a U-print. I don't know which one, but I think it was PLA plastic. I modeled them in Fusion 360. That was pretty fun. I'm really big on the 3D modeling thing, and it was just a little something that I threw in there. Now, for the whole skinning process, to give this guy some real skin texture and to build up some of the forms, make them more organic, I used Apoxie Sculpt. Now, this is a epoxy putty that comes in 2 parts. Mix it up by hand and just kind of slap it onto the thing. I used some water to smooth it over, and then used my hand itself to make skin textures. As I mentioned before, this was a first for me. It was pretty fun to work with, although it was pretty tedious to mix up the little batches here and there. You did have a full 2 or 3 hour working time on each batch, but I was just blowing through the stuff. It was crazy. I think I used about 8 containers total of it. Now I moved on from skinning to just starting some painting because I was prepping for a trip. I wanted to kind of show the process in the creature itself, just like half finished-ish, half unfinished, before I left, so that it didn't look like crap while I was on my trip, which was like about a week. So I came back from this trip and I started working on a tongue, put the jaws in, started sculpting gums, and then I just went on from there and skinned the whole thing. Well, kept on going with the Apoxie Sculpt. Yep. There's the nose. Oh, no, never mind. I had to do the nose a few times on this guy. I just found that it was kind of funky, so I just kind of put it off till near the end to do. The ears were kind of interesting too. They kept on falling off and crap while drying. It was kind of a pain, but I eventually figured it out, and those got socked on. Here I'm just covering those extended shoulders that I created. There's the eyeball. There's the nose. And more Apoxie Sculpt. So I just did a look. No, that was just some patchwork. Now there I did a light sanding over the whole thing, just to kind of homogenize the whole thing, make it kind of level. I mean, there were some bits where there were some kind of rough seams, so I just wanted to sand those guys down a bit. Now the painting of this thing was really just a lot of layers. I started with a dark gray base tone, went over that with some black washes, and then from there I proceeded through at least 3 to 4 layers of dry brushing. Now, the base layer was just to get down a rough color of the whole thing. That's kind of like the general direction I wanted to go with it, which was gray. Used the black wash to get the crevices, the deep dark stuff in the skin tone, and then the dry brushing was to highlight the high spots on the skin. This kind of resulted in a finish that was kind of like rough, dry, cracked, kind of gross skin, and I was kind of going for that. So I'm just painting up the mouth, mixes of reds, blues, pinks, to make it very fleshy and lifelike. Now, to give some more depth to the mouth, I started with black going around the gum line, and then I just used some dry brushing to feather it out to fade into the skin tone. Here I'm painting the eyes. I just started with a base of dark red, and then I dry brushed in the iris in a circular pattern. Yep, nothing fancy. And then you can see on the jaw there I did some patchwork. Somebody actually knocked it over while I was away. It's kind of a pain, but hey, it happens. I just kind of had to work with it, go forward, fix it, paint over it. The usual. People happen. But, yeah. So here I'm just doing some more touch-up work with the paint. And then I'm going to move on to hair laying in now. So I just used some weldwood contact cement and a wig that I got from a local costume shop. I just cut it up into segments and then glued it on in layers, starting from the bottom up. And then I just kind of went thicker and thinner as I went along, depending on where I was laying the hair. The hair that was on top of the head was a lot thicker than the hair that was, say, leading up to the jawline. It's just, I had to stare at quite a few werewolf photos to make sure that this part in particular was pretty spot on. This was my first time working with hair, and I have to say it was pretty messy to do so, but it was fun. I liked it. So this is the finished product. Sorry for the grainy photo. You can check out my Facebook page, facebook.com/daggerelk for more pictures of the process. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe. I want to know what you think about the video. And yeah, subscribe for more content. I hope to be posting more often. Thank you.